5'6".
What up,
Uh,
people? All my
uh,
graffiti brothers and sisters out there.
I would
Peace.
say I would say that you're a mysterious figure in the sense that you did your thing and then you moved on with your life,
Yeah.
and we never heard from you for many, many, many years.
It's funny, even when I was in the game, I was always in the cut. I was never one to like be out there like that. And it's funny because I used to see writers, I used to sit in a bench and nobody would know it was me. And one of my trains would pull in and I would love it because they'd be like, oh shit, a Kyle piece. And they'd be running with their cameras and I'd be standing right there like, wow. That was a great feeling, man.
So 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 for for all of us that are new to meeting you, tell us a little bit about who you are. Where did you grow up, and where was your family from? Take us
Uh,
back to those days.
I grew up in Corona, Queens. I was basically from Queens, New York. Yeah, I grew up in Corona, 110th Street, Northern Boulevard. It was kind of a rough neighborhood, I had a rough upcoming, just like everybody else. Most people that grew up in New York, it was kind of tough. Corona was kind of rough. I mean, back then we didn't have much role models. Art wasn't considered something like a career choice or anything like that. My family was basically blue collar. Either you worked for sanitation or you did some kind of backbreaking shit for a living. You didn't do artwork. That was just unheard of. So yeah, basically that's my background.
And so when did you discover that you had artistic ability at all?
Oh, from when I was a kid. When I say kid, I mean from a child. I was able to draw when I was like 4 or 5 years old. I never forget this one story. One of my mother's friends tells me, she says, Kyle, when you were a kid, I asked you to draw me a horse. And she was like, I was expecting like, stick figure horse. And she said, you drew an actual horse and it blew her away. She never lets me forget that. And she said she knew I had talent from then on.
And
You know.
so and so from that early age, you knew you had artistic ability. When did you discover graffiti in your life?
Ah, I discovered graffiti. Now, I used to admire it before I got into it because I didn't really know nothing about it. And I remember I used to work at this place downtown, but I would always see the trains pulling in. And I never forget the one piece that really grabbed me one time was this piece by Raz, TAT. And it was a giant R and a Z, and it had the angel in the middle. That shit blew me away. And I was like, wow, how do they do that? I mean, that was one of the cars that really like got me thinking about graffiti. And then not too long after that, I there was this place called I Cry Graffiti Inc. They had a commercial on Video Music Box. And a friend of mine bought me there, and that was the beginning. That's when it started. I didn't know how to write. I was a crazy toy, but I knew how to do characters. I could draw. That was my advantage. Yeah, there you go.
So you
That
show,
picture
so you,
right there is from Graffiti Inc. I think that was one of the pieces we were working in with Graffiti Inc. And I think Panic took that picture.
so you show up. I'm guessing you're in high school by this point.
I was out of high school. I was like 19, 20 years old.
Got it. So
Yeah,
you're a late
right,
bloomer.
exactly. And
So you're
I
late.
felt a little self-conscious about writing because I was older, but I didn't care because it was like something I went, because it was a challenge to me. Because I used to be like, how did they get these letters? I could draw. And there was one guy in I Cry called Kenji, and he could, man, the letters him and Sonic, they were just so nice with the lettering, man. I was good with the art, but the lettering I had to really, really work on. That was a task for me. The artwork wasn't a problem. I could draw anything sight unseen. I could even do characters without even looking. The characters were never a problem. That was always my strong point. My weak point was the lettering. So it took me a very long time to develop my lettering. I
And
learned
so
overnight because I was piecing a
and
lot.
so who did you get, sort of lettering tips, or who did you look at for guidance when it came to lettering?
I didn't want to mimic anybody's style. So I went the hard route and just developed my own, just took my own bumps and bruises with my own lettering, no matter how toy it looked. I didn't want it to mimic anybody. I could have easily copied somebody else's style, but I said, you know what? I'm just gonna take I'm not gonna learn like that. I'm just gonna just take the hard route and just develop it on my own. But I got style from a lot of people. I got style from a lot of people that I wrote with. I got style from Rack 7. Who else? Yeah, basically Rack 7 gave me a lot of style. PC Kid gave me a lot of artistic, like shadowing and stuff like that. But Rack 7 helped me shape up my lettering a lot. Him and Sonic and a couple of other people.
And so, was when you went to iCry, was that what year was that?
Wow, let me see. I think that was 86, 85, 86, 84. Wait, yeah, between 84 and 85, because I think I started writing in like 85, I think, something around that time.
So many of some of the writers that you mentioned, like Sonic, weren't really so active at that time on the trains, or maybe PC Kid. These guys are maybe moved on to Walls. Is that correct?
Right, right, right. They basically weren't like strong on the subway lines. They had some pieces. Now Sonic goes back. He had some pieces of, but he wasn't like that strong on the subway line. He wasn't really that strong, but hell of an artist. You
And
know,
so who did you meet at iCry that was painting trains at the time?
John. John was killing it. But I didn't know that at the time. I was not familiar with layups at iCry. As a matter of fact, wait. Doc, TC5, Doc, who else at the time? Another brother, I forgot his name, but Doc, TC5, and John were really the two writers that were really active. And I didn't know John was as active as he was until he brought me to the line.
So tell me about
And
meeting
Dynamite
John.
149, Dynamite 149, and Claude. Yeah.
So you got to meet all these now legendary figures in the game, and you befriend John. How did you convince John to take you to the layups?
Oh, it wasn't. I didn't convince him, man. He just bought one day we were doing a mural and we had all of these cans. We were doing some murals for some kid shows. And but before that, I think Dynamite 149 took me. I did my first piece. It's on a short clip of a video too about graffiti back in the days. A Dynamite 149, I did my first piece with, and I think I did my second piece with Doc TC5 in one of those letter layups. And I did the other. I think my first one was on the threes with Dynamite 149. I did a McDonald's piece, like with the Hamburglar and a Ronald McDonald, some crazy shit like that. That was my first piece. Wasn't a top to bottom, it was a panel down, but for a new jack, it was all right because of the characters. The letters weren't so great, but the characters were, all right.
So,
So
so in mentioning Dynamite 149, can you tell us a little bit about him for those of you out there that don't know anything about him?
Dynamite 149 was basically an ink writer. He was basically a person that anywhere you take him, if he had a can or ink on him, he was going to get up. I remember one time he came to see me in Corona. Nobody pieced on the sevens. The seven lines was untouched. Yo, he jumped off the fucking platform onto the tracks, and like they had like a little layup right there, like under the underpass. And he just went down there and did a Dynamite 149 on a clean ass white train, man. I was like, oh shit. Blew me away, man. Just like that, one can did an outline and a fill-in, man, on the seven line.
So he
Back when
was
they
a
were
known
all
bomber.
white.
So he was a known
Yeah,
bomber.
yeah. He was a known bomber. Dynamite 149 was all over the place, man. There was no place in Manhattan where there wasn't a Dynamite 149 tag. And it was a funny because one time he told me this funny story where he was on a platform and he had just inked the wall, and his cop came by, and he didn't pay any attention to it. He hears this loud slap. The cop slapped the wall and said, "If this shit comes off your ass, it's mine." And slid his hand down the wall, and the ink slid, and he took him in. I was like, "Oh shit!" Crazy stories, man.
So,
Yeah.
so for those of you out there that weren't there at the time, what Kyle is referencing is, Dynamite 149, obviously, but a style of writer that really cared about tagging and that really cared about ink and doing insides and getting up. And there was a whole entire movement within this graffiti world that we're talking about that only cared about tags, that only cared about doing insides of the trains. And although I know he had style, I remember seeing his tags on the insides of the trains a whole lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Dynamite got up. That's all he stayed doing. I mean, that back in the days, man. I mean, graffiti was addictive, man. You had people that just walked around with inks. I mean, like what a lot of us used to be at Canal Paint. I mean, you usually didn't buy paint. The thing was to rack it, was to steal it if you could. Most of the time, well, that's what racking was. Racking was stealing. You didn't buy paint back then. And John was a master at that. I went to John one time to the store. I saw him turn his back, and he came out with 2 cases. I was like, holy shit! In a place that wasn't known for people to rack. And I was like, wow, you know. So that's how it was, man. We, you used to steal your paint and write
Well,
most of the time.
if you didn't do that, then you wouldn't have paint.
Right,
How else would you get it?
exactly. Because paint was expensive. We were young, we were broke, we didn't have money, and we wanted to write. So that's why you see a lot of cars that I did were just like, some of them were just like these fucking cans we racked that were just like garbage paint, because they were from stores that were easy to rack. They weren't paint. They didn't have security on the spray paint because it was just like outside somewhere in crates or something, and we would just run off with crates of that shit, you know.
So let's get into the trains, because you started painting trains with Dynamite and Doc, you
Yeah,
mentioned, and then you end up linking with John One.
yeah.
Tell,
John started the fever. John basically, we were doing a mural one day for this children's show or whatever, and we had all this paint left over. He said, "Yo, man," I was like, "Let's do." I forgot what I was at telling. I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna do some canvases or something." He said, "Yo, let's go to the yard, man." I was like, "Go to the yard?" He's like, "Yeah, come on, let's take this to the yard." So we grabbed on, and that was it. After that was it. I was off and running.
so so you go to the yard. What was the first experience like with John? What did you paint, if you remember,
Uh,
and where'd you
the
go?
the first one I painted, I must have did about, was it the Buddha Bless? Yeah, I think it was my Buddha Bless car. I mean, the lettering was trash, not trash, but it was new. But I had so many characters on that train, man. And we were high, and I was talking about, yo, I wanted to be like Lee. I wanted to do characters. I was like, yo, I want to do more characters than anybody's ever done on a train. So I did this Buddha, and when the doors closed, the Buddha's hand would touch, and it said Buddha bless across the top, and I put all these ninjas on it and all of this karate stuff. It was just crazy. It was all of these characters. I put so many characters on there. Yeah, 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 yeah. There you go. Yeah, that's one of them. I don't know if that's my first one or my second one. That was my second one, I think. Yeah, that was my second car right there. So
So
I was
so
into the characters. The characters would make up for my for my weakness and my lettering. But John, the reason I worked with John, because a lot of people don't know this. Back in the day, a lot of writers, they didn't want to write with John because John pieced abstract. So a lot of them would piece for him. They would do his pieces like, nah, you're not gonna do that shit. But that was his appeal to me. I was like, yo, do your thing. I don't give a fuck what you do. Just do your thing. And a lot of times I would let John just do the outlines while I did the characters. I was like, yo, John, whatever you want to do, go ahead. And I let him be him. I just let him do his thing. He would take acrylics. Sometimes he would take acrylic paint and put acrylic paints in inside of his pieces and stuff like that. Different things like that, man. But John was just nonstop. John, I to this day he hasn't stopped painting. John was nonstop. I couldn't keep up with John. We would be in the layups all weekend, and from the layups, John would go to during the weekdays and go hit the other lines doing throw ups all week. He was just on it. I mean, I couldn't keep up with him. And when we would stop and go places to eat or whatever, he'd never stop drawing. He'd be on a fucking napkin while we're eating, doing outlines. You know.
So you had
That's
you found a great partner in
oh,
John.
oh yeah, 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 yeah. Great. He brought out the best in me, man. And he was a great hype man. He was like, yo, Sacking him is down there doing some run. Yo, you talking that shit you want to be like Lee. He was like, yo, you better fucking get on your game, man, because they doing some tight shit down there. We got to rock tonight. You know, and I used to be like, oh, shit. And we would, you know, it was competition like that. And I would go see they shit and be like, oh my God, I gotta do this tonight. Yeah, that's what it was like.
So he would hype you up. You guys would go, and you mentioned sack and run. What was the competition like? Did you feel like there was strong competition on the lines?
It was
You know,
it was more camaraderie than competition, you know, because we would all compliment each other like, yo, that shit is coming out blaze. You know, we would all compliment each other. It wasn't like competition, like, oh, I'm gonna blow that shit out. You know, it wasn't that kind of competition. It was a camaraderie because we all knew that there was also a element of we may not be able to finish. We were all happy to be able to finish our work and get it in. So whatever anybody did, you know, we always gave each other. That's one thing about 145th layup. We always had each other's back. You know, it wasn't too much drama down there between writers. If it was just over some. It was just, you know, it was over some dumb shit. But most times, like, and then John would do the guest. Whoever came through, like I remember one time we was doing a car, and Knock 167 came through, and he was like, yo, get down. And Knock got down with it and did a piece. Got on our piece. I had no problem with it.
so that spirit of collaboration really meant a lot, you know, to everybody, because the work that was produced, you know, when you would see those trains pull out of the tunnel on a Monday morning, there wouldn't just be a John and Kyle car. There would be a Sack car. There'd be a Les
Right,
car. There would be
right,
so many cars.
right. Yeah, I remember one time the whole 12 cars, man. We did one time, man. Everybody got some, man. You know, I was loving that, man. You know,
Well, look, here we have a few examples of cars so that people understand what we're talking about. When we're talking about cars, we're talking about the entire train car.
right. The
From the
whole
top you
car,
see.
top to bottom, T to B. That was always my thing. That's all I wanted to do was top to bottoms. That's all I wanted to do because I always wanted my shit to be like showcase. I like panel down burners were only if I knew I didn't have enough paint or we couldn't finish. But always my aim was top to bottom. Got to do top to bottoms, and we got to do some shit that's going to stand out. You know,
So
my whole week was spent making up outlines that we could do. And the King Kong car you showing now, there's a funny story behind that because there was this Henry had this thing going on where he took all the New York writers and was going to Chicago. He wanted us to submit a sketch for a train to go. Now you had all the old time writers like Futura and all these other old writers and stuff. And me and John at the time, we was hot. We was hot. They had the magazine out then, the one that came out, the weekly one. I forgot the name of it. And we was in there every week with top to bottoms and stuff. So we figured Henry was going to, like, you know, bless us. So we were going to go to Chicago and do the Chicago train. It wasn't John and Kyle. It said Zoo York. So we were going to do a Zoo York train. But Henry didn't pick us. And, yo, we was pissed. We was like, yo, he picked all these old time writers. He didn't even pick us. And we happening right now. We got shit popping off every week. So John was like, yo, fuck that, man. We're going to take the shit to the yard and we're going to do our shit. So we took that shit to the one line, man. We took that shit to the layup and we did it on the train and got better response because that Chicago shit, it went down nice, but we got more notoriety for that King Kong car. I mean, I remember one time a conductor, like we hadn't got the pictures yet and he was giving me scrape the windows. He said, you know what? I ain't going to scrape them. I'll wait till you get your pictures. And he's like, yo, you John and Kyle? He was like, we were like, yeah. And he was like, yo, that King Kong shit you did, yo, that was the hottest shit I ever seen ever. I was like, wow, that shit made me, this a work bum telling us this, man. I was like, wow. That shit blew me away. Yeah, the King Kong shit was that's how that came about because we got rejected for a project, so we just took it and put it on the line and got much better. We did 2 other cars, I think 3 other cars that whole weekend was just a fiasco. That was the Raid Roach. I did a Raid Roach card also that weekend, and I think he did the Baby 167, and we did a panel down burner also that weekend. Now that weekend was that it started out like this. There was 30 riders. We got rated. It got down to like 20 riders. We got rated again. We got down to like 15. Got rated again. We got down to like 10. Rated it again down to 5. Yo, we got rated so many times it was only me and John in the layup. And we had the whole layup to ourselves the whole fucking weekend. I think that was like a Christmas weekend. Yo, we stayed down there the whole 3 days, piecing the whole time. The whole time we did. We pulled
Incredible.
out 3.5 cars.
Incredible. So when you said there was so many riders in there, 50 riders, 30, 20 riders, was that a very common thing for you to
Yeah,
experience
on a
in the
hot
train?
night, yes. On a night when you knew when we would ride the train, all we had to do was open the train windows and we could smell the paint. And we'd be like, oh shit, riders are in there. People, it's hot. Yeah, there was nights like that. There was nights where there was just everybody was doing their thing. That's what I
So
liked about the one layup.
so who was in there? Who are the typical riders on your
Uh,
painting that would be
Sack,
feeling it?
Sack, Sim, FC Crew, West. Big ups to West, my homie. Um, shit, everybody, man. Surge, fuck Dome, you know, shit, man. Uh, Psycho, fucking, what's his name? Joey, TDS. I never Delta didn't wasn't there too much. He pulled out a couple of pieces, but not too much. But Joey was down there a lot. Who else? Yeah, basically, yeah.
So all these crews you mentioned, FC, TDS, I know, IBM,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
So many crews, and then there was also people on the insides, I imagine,
Yeah,
as
yeah, yeah,
well.
yeah. There's people on the inside.
And so all these cars are being pulled out. I want to just share a few because you guys did so many
Hmm.
that no one's ever
Right.
seen.
Right, that's the one with Knock 167 right there. That's Knock did that character. He came through and he did that character. Yeah. And then I did those right there. It's funny because one time me and John was on the station and one of our cars pulled in. We heard the work bump saying, yeah, maybe we should catch John and Kyle, shoot them in the back. And I was like, oh shit. They take that shit to heart, man. Yeah. So because I made this train because for some reason the MTA had started putting white lines through our trains. After we did them, not they would let them run for a while, and they started putting white lines through our trains. So I made that piece, and it said we ain't bluffing if you keep buffing 156 kills.
So we're going to show.
So it's
I have an example of that
mhm.
with the white lines of the trains, and so there was a competition that existed between, I guess, the workers trying to destroy the trains and you guys trying to make the trains beautiful.
Right. But they didn't see it like that. Back then, graffiti was frowned upon, because they bunched it all together. They didn't see it as being artwork. As a matter of fact, my family, nobody in Queens really knew I did graffiti because I was really on the low with it. Until one day, my brother was like, "Yo, man, you writing on trains?" He said, "Cause my homie said he saw a train with your name on it." I was like, "Yeah, that's me." A lot of people in my neighborhood thought I just did murals. I didn't tell them I was writing on a train because I was kind of older and I just didn't really want people to know my business. But yeah, that was basically, and that's when I started. My lettering started coming together. Because I started getting the flow. After a while, you get the flow. When you start feeling the can, and you start getting the flow, and your hands not shaking no more, and you don't doubt yourself, that's when it should start coming together. So then I started flowing after a while.
This is a good one.
Yeah. That's when my letters started coming together, and I was like, and I started getting a certain style and different things like that.
So this to me is an epic just collaboration car with you, John, and then you mentioned Knock comes on
Right.
and joins you.
Right. Yep, knock came
here you
through.
see.
Did a character, he did a little knock on the corner or somewhere. John did his thing, you know. Yeah,
I mean, I don't know if anybody's ever seen this car before. I've always loved this. You
yeah,
know, you
yeah.
have
That's
Knox's character
knock.
there. You have the scene on the left where, you know, you guys are shooting the work bum to stop the buff, and
Right.
then there's a little knock piece right
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Knock did that. Did knock hit that corner right there? Did the little knock piece? Did his thing. I think I did the dude with the machine gun, and knocked at the lady and the guy in the middle doing the muscle pose or whatever. But yeah, it's all good, man. I mean, it was. I was glad. The funniest person I ever wrote with though that I did wrote with was Case Two.
So
R.I.P. My brother.
so
Yeah,
let's
Case was a funny dude.
so
Yo,
let's talk about
Case.
case two. Here's a Kyle and case two right
Yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah. I remember that. We got pictures. I think I sent you some pictures earlier of us that night before we went out to do that car. Yo, Case is a funny dude, man. And a lot of people don't know he had one arm, but they don't know that he had one leg also. He had like half a leg, but people don't know that. Yeah,
So here you are with case.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's man. We took that. That's John's room right there. John took that picture. I blanked out the other person because he wasn't really a writer. He was just there, you know. So it wasn't like he wasn't nobody we had to remember. But yeah, John took that picture. That's in John's room.
So this is pre-game.
Yeah, that's pregame. Yeah, because we all clean. After you leave the layups, you be beat up and dirty. You want to go home and wash, take a shower.
And
Yeah, yeah,
so here that car that we just showed, the Kyle, and I think it's a too much
yeah,
that he
yeah.
might.
Wow, they got the windows on that one. That's crazy. Yeah, I don't have too many. I lost a lot of my pictures, not taking them. I took them for granted, man. You know, I took a lot of this shit for granted, man. Now this shit is golden, man.
So were you out there taking pictures post painting or no? You
No,
just let it go.
no, no, no. I mean, after, yeah, I mean, like, I would hit the layups, but John would basically, because after we finished, I would go home. I live in Queens. I wasn't coming back to the bench the next fucking day after writing all week, and I'll go home, go to sleep. But John would be there because John was out there like that. John would definitely, I could rely on John to get the pictures. So I'm pretty sure John has all of our shit, if not most of it.
So here you see it fresh. All the windows are painted before they get cleaned off.
Right.
I wanted to show some details. I figured that along the way you must have lost a lot of pictures, so I went digging through some of my files and pulled some of these out.
Mm-hmm.
And there,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The half robot, half yeah. Ha ha. Wow. I was into that half door, door closing thing.
right,
That was my whole thing.
right, perfectly positioned so when the door opens.
Right. I always try to do those type of things. Try to be different, you know.
Amazing. So tell us a little bit more about any recollections you have about Case, because you painted with Case on a number of occasions.
Yeah, yeah. Case was he was just a cool dude, man. He was just like, he was funny. He was a funny dude. Hold on one second. Hold on. All right, I'll be right
So
out.
for everybody, we are here with Kyle Style
Sorry about that.
156,
Yeah.
and we appreciate you taking us down memory lane,
Yeah,
sharing
man, it
these
feels good
stories
talking to you.
of these epic masterpieces that are now in the history books. This
Yeah.
is part of our collective history, and so we're very thankful that you're sharing these stories, and we're very happy to be sharing these photos that for many folks around the world have never seen these photos. These photos are not on the internet. These are out of my personal archives and out of your personal
Yeah,
archives. So
thanks, man. I appreciate that.
these are the gems. And so this one people know, though. This one people know.
Uh, um, that's that one. A funny story behind that one. When I did that one, right, it hit the 6th line. Now, Scene hadn't been out for a while. Scene wasn't doing nothing for a while. You hadn't seen. Scene had like not disappeared, but he wasn't active. He said, "Yo," when he saw that shit on the 6th line, he got up and he did the Flintstone piece. It's like,
Oh,
yo,
the Hickey and
I had
Steve.
to come back on that. I said, yo, when I saw that shit on the 6th line, I had to get up and do something. Yeah, that's one of my hitters right there. And it's funny because uh, uh, it was supposed to be the whole car was supposed to be me, Kyle's. It was going to be a Kyle Wars or Kyle Style piece. But then John was helping me, and I was like, you know what, John, go ahead and do your thing. So I let John, I put John up too because I wasn't like I like to shine, but John was my partner, man. So I was like, yo, man, put your name up, man. This is how we doing this. We partners. But yeah,
So
that's one of my hitters right there.
so this one made it into spray can art, I
Right.
think.
Right. That one made it into the book with the walls before because they didn't. That was the only train they had in the book with the walls. It came out into a spray can art. Yeah, it was about walls, but that was one of the one trains that they put in there. And that made me feel good. I gave them props for that.
So this is the, I think for the world, this is how they were introduced to you outside of New York City, was this particular piece.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's when I was on my game. That's when I was really feeling, I was really feeling my art. I had so many other top to bottoms to come, but the subway, I didn't realize the subway era was almost over, man.
Incredible. And so this piece was, I think, you wrote Kyle Wars. What was going on with you that you were thinking Kyle Wars? What was that all about?
Because they had Star Wars.
Got it. So you were
They
the
had,
answer.
yeah, Star Wars. They had Star Wars. So I said, yo, fuck Star Wars. It's gonna be Kyle Wars. Because I'm waging war on the subway. Because that's what me and John was doing. It was like war, man. We were sitting 42nd Street, and there wasn't a car that went by that didn't have us on it. There wasn't a train that went through that didn't have one of our pieces on it.
Amazing.
And John had totally bombed the city with those green throw ups. When I say he got down, yo, John was like, yo, he killed it.
It was
Killed it.
amazing. It was
He was
amazing. I
all
remember I
city.
witnessed it.
156. Yo, we turned 156 like a like a semi crew to like, yo, John turned that shit worldwide. Gotta give it to him. Gotta give him props. He never stopped. He hasn't stopped till this day. I gotta give him props on that. Hold on, let me check my back.
Sure.
Hold on one second.
Sure. So everybody that's out there listening, so before, when Kyle was mentioning the buff and how the trains are being cleaned by the workers, this and adding stripes and messing up their art, this is what he was referring to. Right here, you can see that same train that we're talking about right there, and this is it with stripes over it. And then you have a JO on top of the stripes, which is Joey TDS that was mentioned before. So
Yeah.
so here's the example of those stripes.
Yeah. Oh, I remember that, man. They were doing that. I mean, they were doing that for a minute, but then they stopped.
How did that feel to see your trains wreck like that?
It sucked. It sucked, man. It was like total disrespect, and we knew they were just doing it for, I don't know. It just sometimes you just might have a certain worker or somebody just doing something like that. It may not be itself. It may not be. It may not be transit itself. It just may be one particular work bum in particular that
Terrible.
decided to go on a mission and do that.
Terrible.
I mean, I'm almost tempted now because I'm gonna put this on let my phone charge a little bit.
Sure. So here we have another train. It's another Kyle John train, and this one has some aliens and hands and some cyborg stuff going on. Do you remember this at all? And by the way, John is on here with us today. So John, if you want to jump on here at all and be part of this conversation, I'm glad to have you jump on for a minute or two with us and do this virtual reunion with Kyle.
Oh yeah, I remember this train. Yeah, I remember this one. Yeah, this was just if I'm not mistaken, there's some Star Wars thing going on in there. I think we had a lot of scrap paint, and I think we may have done another car before this one.
Shit.
Yeah.
Yo, what's up, Kyle?
JONE.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah.
shit, what's
What's
happening, my brother?
up?
Oh shit,
What's
what's
up? What's
poppin'?
up? What's up?
Yo,
What's up?
I was telling them about back in the days.
Word, man. You're shining. It's your time to shine. You deserve it.
Ah, man, you brought us here, man.
Nah,
You the
you
one
did the
that took us
work, man. You had the
worldwide. Got
talent,
to give
man.
props to JON.
You put us on Broadway.
Ha ha ha. Yeah, fam. Yeah,
What's up,
John is the
Cat?
man.
What
He's
up?
the one. How you doing, fam? Where you
I'm
at
doing.
now? What country you in?
I'm in Paris.
Oh, okay, you back
Yeah.
home. Okay,
What's
cool.
up, my brother?
What's up, John? Thank you for jumping on.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Good to see you, man.
Good to
Yo,
see
so
you,
when
man.
how long have you guys not seen each other?
Four
He was out.
years, right,
Yeah, a
Kyle?
few years. He was out in Cali a couple of years ago. I seen him out in Cali. I'm in New York now, but I'm getting ready to bounce back to Cali. Oh, yo,
Oh,
John,
wow,
hit me
man.
up. I want to come out there, man.
You gotta come, man.
Yeah, yeah, I want to get out there. Now I'm trying to
That's
remember
cool.
this train, John. I remember. I think we did this one when it was freezing. I think
It was
that's what it
freezing.
was. Yeah,
Yeah, we
a
had
couple
no
of them
paint
cars.
for that one.
This
Huh?
this was
We had
this
no paint.
Right,
there
that's
was a
right.
lot of
Yeah,
cars
that's
in this.
right. That's right. We had to stretch that shit. You put the that's acrylic on there if I'm not mistaken. That's when you put the trays with
Yeah, we
acrylic.
had no paint.
Yeah, we was stretching shit out from them top to bottoms.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
So
Yep.
this is
Oh
this is
man.
this was a New Year's car,
Oh
and to the left of it, I think is a West and Zier, and it says Forever Coolin' or something. And then there was a Run DMC car with Sack and those guys.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember that with the silvers. I think they had silvers.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Oh, there's
Oh,
sexy
look at that.
robot.
The sexy robots, Kyle. The
Yeah, I
sexy
remember that
robots,
one.
man.
Yeah, that was one of mine. Yeah, that was a winner right there. Oh, you remember the story behind that one, right, John? We was sitting,
Yo, what's
we
up?
was
Tell
sitting,
me.
we was sitting in Ero's house,
We were
and
in
me and
Hero's
Ero,
house?
right? We was in Ero's house. We was having an argument on how to do robots. We had an argument, and he was like, "Yo, nah, you use silver to do robots." I was like, "Nah, you use blue, grays, light blue, and black, and white for highlights." He was like, "Nah, you use silver highlights." I said, "All right, let's take it to the yard." And was gonna do he was gonna do a piece in silvers, and I was gonna do the piece. I was gonna do the sexy robots. Remember? And then we went to the yard, and he didn't show up.
Okay.
Yeah, we went to the
Damn.
yard. He didn't show up. Remember, he was supposed to come. We were supposed to battle over that shit.
Shit. Rest
Yeah,
in
that's how that
peace.
shit came
Rest in
about.
peace, Hero, man. Shit. Dominic
Yeah,
Philbert. Yeah, because, I mean, there was a lot of writers that were scared to go to the yards because,
right. You had a lot of good writers then. You had a lot of good book writers and wall writers and black book writers and stuff like that and canvas. But a lot of them, man, wasn't touching them yards.
nah,
Because
that
if you
was
had
another level.
some people had a bad experience on their first time, never went back.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
there
true.
was some shit going down in there. I remember Joey
Yeah,
pairing up with him, and Joey was crazy. Him and Psycho.
yeah.
Yeah,
What
And
about this one
Shama.
right
that's
Remember
here?
another
Shama?
scrap can right there. That's another. Who was with us on this one?
Oh, man.
Who did
That's
that
That
crazy.
looks
character? I think it was
like a Sack
Poke.
character.
I think it was Poke or Sack, one of them.
That
Yeah, it
looks like
might have
Shit.
been
Sack.
Sack was with us. Yeah, that was Sack. Yeah, that was Sack
Oh,
on
shit.
that. Yeah, that was Sack on that one. I remember that. I didn't do that. That
Shit.
wasn't it.
Yeah, Sack used to hold his own, man. He was,
Yeah,
he
yeah,
was,
yeah. Sack used to hold his own, man. Sack was
man,
giving
he
us.
was a
Sack was
one-man
giving us
army.
pride. Like, yo, we used to worry when
Shit.
Sack come through. It's like, oh shit, we gotta step our game up. Well, you know,
Yeah,
these
but
motherfuckers, they
Sack
gonna
was
do
tight
something.
with his outlines and everything and his
Right,
whole.
exactly. Yo, John used to be hyping me like, yo, they down there doing some fly shit, man. You better up your game. You better
Word,
step up. Sack, they doing some
word.
shit. They got Run DMC tougher than leather shit. Like,
Yeah,
yo.
shit, that was it.
Yo, they don't know the love, man, we had, man.
Oh, look at this
Yeah,
one. This is the
yeah.
Roach Motel.
Yo, I was telling them about that night. Why when we made that car, how many raids there was that night. And in the end, it was just me and you.
Yeah.
Started out with like 20, 30 riders, all the way down to just me and you, man. And we was the only ones to pull out that weekend.
Word.
Three and a half cars. I never forget that shit, man.
Yeah, there was a writer that was going over everybody at that time. What was his name? It starts with
tragic.
a
Tragic.
Yeah.
Tragic. Remember you and him had a fight in a layup.
Yeah.
After that, he stopped going over niggas.
Word.
Yeah, after that, he stopped going over people, man.
Oh shit. Wow.
Oh, the
Oh yeah,
Yoda
you
car.
did.
Oh, yeah, I remember this.
It's crazy. What was the
Another,
story on this one, Kyle? What's the
yeah.
I
story on this one?
forgot, man. I think it was cold. It
Yeah.
was free. I can remember my fingers was freezing.
Word.
Where did we do this? Did we do this in the one? I don't think we did this in the one.
Nah.
We did this outside.
Yeah, we may have done that shit in the 4 yard. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
because it was. I just remember it was cold as fuck. I know a couple of pieces we did outside. Like I did one like top to bottom, a Kyle and Esplanade in the winter.
which is so cold, man.
Hold on one second. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, this.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
What's
yeah.
the
I
story
remember
on this
that
one,
one
Kyle?
too. Yeah, I remember that one.
You did the Ninja Turtles.
Right, right. And that was the first time the Ninja Turtles was really, because back then nobody was up on it. It wasn't like the comic book it is now. People don't know that Ninja Turtles was actually a violent comic book when it first came out. It was like an adult comic book. It wasn't for like kids.
Word.
You know, they was chopping heads off and arms and all type of shit like that.
And it was underground.
Yeah, it was an underground comic book. Yep, just like Miami Mice.
Oh yeah, we got that coming up too.
Oh,
Yeah, that's the car I did
word.
with Rack. Now, let me tell you something about this car. Me and Rack did this for an Esplanade, right? I had them, but on the K, right? If you see the K that's coming out, I fucked up on the 3D. Because I was going out, and I messed up on the 3D. And Rack was like, yo, if you didn't mess up on that K, you would have burned the shit out of me. Like,
Word. Oh shit.
yo, because you see how his shit is clean. Rack had that cleanness. I got nervous. You know, I got nervous. I was like, yo, I gotta burn Rack. And I messed up on that K. I messed up on the perspective on the K. It's funny how one perspective can throw off your whole thing. Hold on.
Word.
So tell us a little bit about for those of us out here who don't know. Tell us a little bit about Rack. Who was Rack?
Go ahead. You knew Rack before me, John. So you know his history better than I do. All I know is when I came up, he was already like running.
Yeah, Rack was like a legend. He used to paint with like T Kid up in the Bronx and Fordham Road.
He got style from T Kid.
Yeah, and his outlines were so tight.
Right,
and they were clean.
right.
And
His pieces was like, oh, he was a sign maker. That's right. Remember?
Later on, he became a sign maker.
Right.
He did the UTFO
He put me
cover.
onto that shit.
He was just like a really cool guy with a lot of character, you know.
Yeah.
And
Where was he from?
I got style from Rack. I also got style from Dero too. I did an unfinished piece with Dero on the 2 line. It was a Egyptian piece, but we didn't get to finish it because
I remember that one.
Yeah, I was so used to doing top to bottoms that I thought that I would be able to do the same on the 2 line, but the 2 line wasn't rocking like that.
So hold on a second.
You had
I
to
didn't add that. I didn't add that to the mix, but here it is.
Yeah,
hard copy.
Yeah, right.
Hard copy right there.
That's the unfinished piece.
But hold
See,
on.
I was trying to do it top to bottom. Had I done a panel down burner, we would have finished it. But I had just left the 1 yard, so I was trying to do that same 1 yard type shit. Yeah,
there it is.
Supposed to rock that. Yeah, I should have stayed with. If I would have did a panel down burner, we would have finished it.
Incredible. Wow. So, you're taking us down memory lane on these, and you said you were doing stuff on the 2s.
Yeah, this is my last piece. think I did. Was you there for this, John? I did this by myself.
Nah,
I think I
man.
did.
That's when you broke
Oh,
free, Kyle, and you started to do your own thing, you
yeah,
know?
this was my last piece on the ones. My last piece, my soul piece I did on the ones. Yeah,
This
yeah.
ran for a while. I remember seeing this for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the side of this, the soul piece is this.
156. That looks like
Yep.
Kyle. That looks like rack style.
I know. That's who I got style. I got style from Rack, man.
Word.
I started to pick up his style. We was writing so much together. Plus, we worked together doing them signs. Yeah, Rack
Word?
was vicious. R.I.P. Man. You
Yeah.
know, a lot of good brothers, man.
But
Passed.
Kyle, man, you had that militant style. You had
Yeah,
that crazy militant style, man.
yeah.
You had Black Lives Matter before it even existed,
Right,
man.
Yeah,
Finished you
that's
off with a
every.
soul piece.
My shit was political, man.
Yeah.
Because if people
Tell
could
us
see
about that.
in the
You
middle
have
of
the
his
red, black, and green.
face, right, in the middle of his face is an X, you know. And no, I did a lot of political things. Hey, you don't have a picture of it, but I had a picture of when they changed the fare to $1. Remember we did the Mayor Koch one? We did a Mayor
Yeah.
Koch card. It said, "Don't pay your fare," and
Yeah.
you wrote,
That's
"Don't
it.
pay your fare" across the top. And,
Yeah.
we all had the pictures of that. You should have a lot of pictures, John. I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so then.
I mean, that's what was good working, doing things with you, Kyle, is because you weren't just, you broke free from that style of like, window down burners
Right,
with like arrows, and you started to say something, and that's what made you so interesting
right,
because you kind of like you were one of the first ones to start to say, you and Lee were one of the first ones to really like. Lee did Stop the Bomb, and you
right,
did
right,
you
right.
know, the Free Central America and South Africa train
Yeah,
and the Donkey Kong and
right,
yo,
right.
you were on some other thing. You were
Yeah,
like
but
Malcolm X the graffiti.
right. And it's funny because John bought his style complemented my style, you
Yeah,
know, because I just like John just did his thing. Whatever you want to do, just go ahead, fam, do your thing, you know.
yeah.
And that's the Miami Mice joint. I had
Oh yeah,
forgotten all about that till I seen it. That's when my style started really starting to pick up. Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's amazing. And so,
yeah.
I love hearing about you trying to be your generation's Lee, or you trying to take it to that level.
Right,
As John mentioned, just, being about the whole cars, being about protests, expressing yourselves, not necessarily being stuck on battling about style, but battling about ideas. And
right.
both of you guys are doing that.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's basically We wanted to say something,
You
you
guys,
know.
yeah,
you guys succeeded. You guys were saying something, and you also were breaking the mold in how you were painting. Everything
Right,
that you mentioned about John earlier, bringing acrylics, doing the
right,
abstract work. That's
right,
not usual. That's not the way it
right.
went down normally.
Exactly. And
yeah.
and the funny thing about it was when John went to Paris, right? I started seeing like work from Paris, and I was like, wait a minute, that looked like John shit. And they started
Shit.
mimicking his work, and I was like,
Shit.
oh shoot. So John went out there, made he made
Yeah.
a mark, man. And then I started seeing 156 everywhere, man. We're like one of the biggest graffiti crews there is, man. Thanks to John, you know. Cause
Nah.
me, I went on with life. I couldn't, I couldn't. I had a kid. I went to prison. A lot of shit came in between, man. I mean, my love for writing, I can't lie, it faded because I got older, you know. And
Well, it's
I took
difficult.
that talent for granted, but John didn't, man. John had a passion for it.
Difficult.
He ain't never ever stopped to this day, man. I used to tell my girl, I said, I bet you John is somewhere painting, man. If he's awake, he's
Shit.
somewhere he's painting. That's how I used to be, man. We would go places, and John would just have a little piece of paper, man. He'd just be doing outlines and shit.
Yo,
Like,
but
yo, check this
yo,
out. That's
Kyle,
the
where did we
R.
meet? Where
And
did
the
we
R
meet,
goes
Kyle?
over the character.
Yo, Kyle, where did we meet? We met
I
at that
cried.
youth center.
We met at
Where?
I Cry, Graffiti
What
Inc.
was a Graffiti Inc? Yeah,
Yeah,
it
325
was like a youth
Broadway.
center.
Nah, 325 Broadway.
Yeah,
Yeah, the Graffiti Ink spot. We did that mural together. Remember that mural we did for some kiddie show, and we did a
Oh
mural
yeah,
together. And that's when you took me to the layup, man. You was like, nah, fuck this, man. We're gonna take this shit to the layup.
yeah, to Broadway, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's when it all started, man. That's when it all fucking started, bro. Yeah,
Whoa,
man.
man,
Fuck, man.
those
So
are
We had a
beautiful
hell
so
of a
trains,
fucking.
man.
We had a hell of a run, man. I mean,
Yeah,
I went from toy to fucking king in no time, man. That's because we were
yo,
writing
Kyle, but tell
so
them the
much.
story of when we got raided, when they were waiting for us.
Wait, which one is that? Was that with the King Kong car? Which one? I don't remember that.
Yo, when there was a whole vandal squad waiting for us. Remember that day?
Nah.
And and
Oh,
and people got
the
we
last
were
day of the
there with
layup.
Doc.
Oh, the
Yeah,
last day of the layup, you mean, when nobody got to write.
yeah.
Oh, shit, yo, that was crazy,
The
yo.
vandal squad was waiting, man.
Right. Yeah, they was wait. Yo, it's funny because Flight TDS. Yeah. Don't forget Flight. Yeah, big homie
Oh
Flight.
man, he's the man.
Yeah.
Flight is
And
the
yeah,
man.
I remember that day. Yo, I gotta give it to West though. West was the last one to pull the piece on the ones. And it was funny because that night we all got rated. None of us got the right. And then I saw a West piece running the next day and it said, FC have succeeded where all others have failed. And I was like,
Oh
oh, shit.
shit,
I had to laugh. And that was the last piece ever on the ones before they went silver.
shit, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
was it a Westo piece
Yeah,
or
I think
West?
it was a Westo. It was a
Yeah,
Westo.
it
It
was that
said,
Westo silver one, right?
right. Yeah, succeeded where
Yeah.
all others have failed. I was like, oh, shit, he
Shit.
got that off.
Well, West was always like that, man. He was always pulling it off, you know, dropping jaws when you didn't expect
Right.
it, you know. It's like,
Yep. Yeah, man.
or
It's funny because when I was in Cali, I was driving one day and I was on the highway and I saw a West piece and I was like, damn, I was like, yo, is West out here? And then I saw his piece on the highway and it looked just like his style. I was like, nah, ain't nobody mimicking him, man. I was like, that must have found out it was him on a rooftop out in by the 10 highway. I was like, oh shit.
or
yeah,
Yo,
shit.
did you guys when you guys are actively painting the lines and doing cars like this, did you ever think that this would be a worldwide movement?
I didn't. No, I didn't.
Nah.
Now I did not until John went to Paris, and I started seeing work that the writers were doing in Paris. Then I figured it would catch on, but I didn't think it was going to be worldwide. Now you got places like Brussels, you got Dubai, you got writers in Dubai, you got
Yeah.
man, I mean everywhere, and they're doing some quality work. I mean,
Yeah.
some real like shit that I'm trying to mimic. Like I'm like, wow, like some of that 3D stuff. I'm like, yo, I just can't get that, you know. So I just stick to what I know. I mean,
John
there's a lot
John
of amazing
came
stuff
through
out
and
there. I give them
John
props for
came through and
keeping it going.
John
No,
pioneered it.
I thought Ket it was just a New York thing, you know. I couldn't, you know, everybody else, anybody from outside of New York for me was a toy, you know.
Right,
And that was just
right, right.
my way of
Even
thinking,
yeah,
you know.
right.
It was
Yeah,
a
that's
lifestyle
no. That
that,
was our mentality.
yeah,
If you and even when we was writing, we was like, yo, we don't do walls, man. Even back then, if you
yeah,
were like a walls, that wasn't yeah, nah, you don't write unless you hit the subway, you know.
yeah.
Yeah, if you wasn't hitting the lines, if
So
you didn't have no shit running, then you wasn't really a writer. You couldn't consider yourself a writer, you know. That's how it was. Oh, that's the name of that. Remember International Graffiti Times? That was the name of
oh
that paper
yeah,
that
that
used to
was with
come out
phase
every
two.
week. Yeah,
That was
yeah,
with phase two.
yeah. Yep.
Christopher
Hey,
Street.
yep. I remember that shit, man. Yeah,
Word.
man.
Phase two put us up a lot, you
Yeah,
know.
he did, man. Phase. Yeah, he was.
So many of the writers that you mentioned are no longer living, man. It's amazing and a
I
beautiful thing that you guys
know.
are here to talk, to share this history with us.
Yeah. I mean, A lot of the
Yeah,
new
I
writers, I'm
mean,
glad they got the spirit, man. It's good. Keep it up. I mean, I even recently seen some shit on New York City subways that they were doing. And I was like amazed, like, yo, how did they pull that off? But what people don't realize is that the layups are ripe now. I was even tempted because New York City Transit is going through budget cuts. So the last thing they're concerned about right now is graffiti prevention. So
yeah,
it's tempting, but
the
I'm like,
trains
nah, I can't be out there at my age getting knocked for
the
writing.
trains are, just so that you know, the trains are getting painted basically every day in New York, and there's whole cars after whole cars every week. There's an amazing scene right now. It's incredible. It might as well be 1986 again
Wow.
wow,
with
that's
the amount of
crazy.
cars and things that are pulled off. It's
Where's this
really,
at?
really on another
I
level.
think I I think I want to touch that. Where is this? Yo, hit
Yeah,
me on the DM,
If you
man.
need
Let
an
me know.
introduction,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll get at you, man. I want to find out about that, man. I might want to do a little something.
it's it's amazing. I'm sure you'd appreciate it. And I appreciate you guys, man. I appreciate all you did. Because of you and both of you guys and all the amazing cars that you did, it inspired the next generation and the next generation. And for your time and your era, you guys burned, and you guys did some of the most amazing trains ever painted in New York City. It's incredible to see them all together, and I'm sure there's so many more that we don't have pictures of that you guys, maybe missed or that got buffed. But you guys put it down like nobody else. You guys really put it down in such a major way, and you really solidified yourselves in this global art movement, and you're heroes.
Haha,
You're
thanks.
heroes.
Thanks, man.
word.
Yeah, it inspires me. I
Ghetto
recently started
licious.
drawing again. I recently started doing my work and doing murals. I did a couple of walls on Venice Beach. Me and Sonic did a piece there, and I did a couple of walls by myself there on Venice Beach. When I go back out there, I'm gonna probably do some more. Keep doing walls out there. I'm hoping to
Word.
do a
Amazing.
Ghetto
train
It's
one of
it's
licious.
these days.
good. It's good to have you back painting and paying attention and contributing. I love seeing what you're doing. You were political back then. I see the work that you're doing now. Sometimes it's political as well.
Yeah.
And so it's great to have another voice out here. And
Yeah,
like, right?
that's it, man. I mean, it is what Kyle did on trains was definitely political. There's no other way to seeing it. Just like Kyle was blowing people's minds out. It was just like he was really saying something, and he paved the way for the next generation because he used the trains like a canvas in such a way that he was, like the way people were doing advertising. He was advertising what was going on in his mind, and whenever I think of Kyle, I think of like, the way the youth movement is moving now towards Black Lives Matter. Kyle was doing this like years ago, so it's like, whoa, man, he was way ahead of everybody's time. Nothing
Yeah.
changes in a way. Nothing ever changes.
You're 100% right. And you too, John. You were way ahead of your time. Look
Yeah.
at this piece. Look at what's going on here. You and Kyle, you
Oh
have an
yeah.
abstract piece on the left. You were experimenting like no one else before, and you took it to the next level. We got
Yeah.
Los Demios on here saying you took
Yeah.
it to the next level, and you really did. And then you took it global.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. I mean, no looking back. But I remember for that train, Kyle, you did 27 characters, something like that.
He said he was
Some
trying to do the most characters ever. We just lost Kyle. He said he was trying to do the most characters ever painted on a train in one
he,
shot.
he did 27. I think we went there on a Friday and we came out on a Sunday. You know,
Incredible.
Friday we'd stay the whole weekend. It was just like that, and just it was like a big party being in the yards on Broadway. And that was I would just sit back and look at Kyle, because like one panel, one section of the train would take him like 8 hours to do, and I'm serious. Like, do you
That's
have
incredible.
a picture of the Black Panther? No, the Black. No, you don't have
No, the
the.
Black Panther, I don't have it.
Oh yeah, I mean, he started off by doing this like a character of a Black Panther. And even to this day, I'm like, why did Kyle ever do like a Black Panther? You know, and it's just like his militant way of thinking. You know, it's just the Black Panther with the fangs coming out, and it took him such a long time to do that. You know, it took him like 8-9 hours just to do one character on a train, and she was just amazing watching him paint.
Well, both you guys, both of you guys are committed to just painting the best trains ever painted. I think you guys understood history, and you understood what came before you. You understood Lee,
Yeah,
you understood Blade, you understood
yeah,
Light, you understood all these guys, TDS.
yeah. There was Lee. It was just Lee was the sort of like the, he was the example. I mean, me and Kyle would be in Henry's studio watching all the Lee trains, the Stop the Bomb, USA versus Russia, US. It was just like Lee was the like his way of communicating on trains was just amazing.
Right. So you had to come hard to be able to
Yeah,
to follow Lee.
yeah. He put the level up, and he had stopped a long time before when we got our last licks.
But it's amazing that you guys recognized him and his work and decided to push and keep it going on that
Yeah,
level. Like
yeah,
you guys are right
definitely.
there. You guys are the next generation of the Fabulous Five was 156.
Yeah, I don't know, man, but
I mean, the
we
proof is
tried.
there. The proof is right there, man. The proof is in all these beautiful cars. I mean, it's
Yeah,
car after car after car, piece after
yeah.
piece. It's there.
I
I mean,
mean,
how
what
many
was
people
strange
are
about
doing this?
Kyle was like, what was amazing about Kyle was that he came from Queens. It's like, you didn't have like, I mean, except for Kane and Fuzz One and some other writers, but Queens wasn't really. Do you think Queens was considered like when you talk about graffiti, you talk about Manhattan, the Bronx, Brooklyn, but Queens is always a little bit left out of it.
Well,
Don't you
Queens is
think
always
so?
more of a suburban area.
Yeah,
There's a lot of suburb. I mean, you think about your boy Quick. Quick was from Queens,
yeah, that's true. That's
but
true. But
but they cleaned the Queens lines first. The 7 train got cleaned first.
yeah,
They
that's
cleaned it
true.
up, and so a lot of people, when they clean train lines and they go silver or white, whatever, the entire lines, all the writers quit. Most
Yeah.
people's careers are over,
Wow.
and so when Queens got cleaned early, a lot of people that weren't the all city guys like Quick, that's it. They folded up.
Yeah, that's true. I never looked at it like that. So
Right? Because what
that's what I'm
happened when
saying.
right? What happened when they cleaned the ones?
Oh yeah, everybody just quit.
Everybody just quit. That's it.
Yeah, that's true.
So you guys said before that if it wasn't a wall, walls were whack and it had to be trains.
Yeah,
And if you didn't have trains, a lot of people folded and quit, and a few people moved to the walls. I love that. You mentioned FC Crew before, and FC Crew moved and then had a second run in the early '90s, painting some pretty incredible walls all over the city.
yeah,
But they were the exception.
yeah. They were definitely an exception. FC Crew was one of the first crews that started to do pieces in LA. You know,
Yeah.
that's the way I feel. Maybe I'm wrong, but they're the ones that kind of like brought some flavor to LA.
Yeah, no, they really did. They really did. Listen, once New York writers started moving around,
Okay,
everything
I'm
changed.
back.
Yeah.
All right, sorry about that. My fucking battery, my phone got hot.
Nah, what we're just saying, Kyle, is that what was exceptional about you was that you were from Queens, and there wasn't so many writers from Queens, and you were willing to go all city, even though there was no trains to paint in Queens. That's
Right, because the 7 train was off limits. I was telling him that story about Dynamite 147 when he jumped down on the platform and just did a piece right there, right on the fucking white train, man. That shit blew me away. But
shit.
yeah, no. And you know what's so funny? I used to go to school with Say City.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, with Say.
You did.
And And I remember one time I did these characters, and he did like this, and he did like this piece, and I did the characters for the piece, but I wasn't into graffiti then, so I like hand painted them. And he had did the piece, and it's funny because later on, looking back, I'm like, wow, you know, I used to go and I seen some stuff that Say did, because Say, I think he started doing work with Run DMC in them or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, he goes back too, Say City. I remember him, but I don't think he hit the lines too tough. But back then, if you had style doing anything, you basically got noticed.
Yeah, that's true.
Remember Dave DMX? Remember his album cover? A graffiti did it, like one of the marker writers dudes did his cover. That shit got pretty famous. One of them rap albums. But yeah, Queens wasn't known for writing. Queens writers, like there was PC Kid. There was also Kane One.
Yeah.
PC Kid, Kane One. There was also this kid I knew named. Oh wait. We had the Public Animals out there too. TPA. I can't forget about Flame and
that's
Fuzz.
true. That's true.
Flame and Fuzz and them cats. Yeah, I remember them.
There was, you know, Queens had their writers, and you also had Quick RTW.
But like you said, when the 7 Train went dead, that's when the Queens writers went dead.
Yeah,
that's right.
You know, you had the E-Line and stuff like that. I think that was Men and all them other cats was on the E-Line. I think. I'm not too sure.
And Ezo,
was
Ezo a little bit? Mission. Ezo was a little bit on the Queens line.
Right. Yeah, Ezo. I remember him.
You know, the interesting thing is, as we were saying, when the lines got clean, some riders would move to other lines, and then most riders would just stop. Yeah, and that's just kind of how it worked. You know, there's riders that were all city that moved around, and then there was riders that didn't. You know, and so, you know, I think for you guys moved around. John was on the A's, John was on the ones. You guys went to, you know, you guys moved around a little bit, but you guys had the fever during your time.
Yeah, it was street culture, man. And Kyle took it to another level, street culture, man. He took it to another level. Street
he really
life.
Did.
Yeah.
He really did. But listen, John, I appreciate you spending some
all
time
right,
with us. I know it's, I don't know what time it is, 2 a.m. out there where you're at.
Yeah, I had to stay up to see Kyle's interview, man.
I really appreciate that. And
much love, my brother.
Much love to you.
Okay, take it easy, Kev. Wish you the best.